This is the third Merason DAC I reviewed, and I was very eager to do so since the experiences with the other two were very positive. No frills, no ultra high sampling rates, no remote, just a very good sound quality for the money. Merason founder and CEO Daniel Frauchiger is a very modest man. In the meantime, Merason managed to produce DACs that have that special sound quality that makes them very attractive. Each model in its own price category. They all are limited to 192 kHz 24-bit, don't do DSD, have no remote control nor volume control. So if you want DSD 512 or 1411.2 kHz PCM, look further and please tell me where you can buy regular music at those sampling rates. The Reuss is the middle model, costing €4,990. Below it is the frills at €1,390 and the top model is the DAC I MK2 that comes at €7,990. I reviewed the frills with the optional power supply and the original version of the DAC I. Links at the usual places. Time to see where the Reuss finds its place in a stereo. You can connect your computer directly to the USB input of the Reuss. That usually won't give the best sound quality, despite the very good input circuit of the Reuss. It is better to connect the computer over a cable or Wi-Fi to the router. You then use a network bridge or streamer and connect that to the network and to the DAC. Depending on what bridge you choose, that can be over AES EBU, SPDIF, Toslink or USB cable. On the computer a server program has to be run, like a delay server, UPnP AV server, Logitech Media Server, Audivana, Amara, JRiver Media Center, Roon or the like. Access to the internet services is over the network and the server program is usually controlled using a smartphone or tablet. If you use a network player instead, it will do the indexing and control functions. Instead of a computer, you can also run a server program on a NAS, provided it's powerful enough for that server program. For instance, delay does not need much CPU power. Roon requires clearly more. If you still use a CD player, that can be connected digitally to the DAC so you can enjoy the quality of the DAC for CDs too. Normally CD players are connected over SPDIF or Toslink. SPDIF is the better choice. Also the TV's digital audio output can be connected using an optical Toslink cable. The Reuss is available in silver and black. At 450mm it's slightly wider than the de facto hi-fi width of 430mm. The depth is 290 and the height 50mm and it weighs 4.2 kilos. On the front we see the standby button, the power LED, an LED that indicates a lock to the incoming signal and 4 LEDs that indicate which input is chosen, SPDIF, AES EBU, Toslink or USB. The selection is made with this input selector. Here we see the power switch with integrated fuse holder and the IEC mains inlet. In the middle we find the digital inputs. SPDIF coax on RCA, AES EBU on XLR, Toslink optical and USB-B for USB audio class 2. The analog outputs are available balanced on XLR and single-ended on RCA. Inside we see 3 large circuit boards, one for high AC voltage, one for low DC voltage and one for the digital and analog audio circuits. After the IEC mains inlet we find a mains filter. Behind it a toroidal transformer that outputs 2 times 7.5 VA at 7 volts AC and 2 toroidal transformers that both output 7.5 VA at 9 volts AC. The first is part of the linear power supply for the digital electronics, the other two for the analog circuits, one for each channel. A tiny switch mode power supply is present for the standby function so that it has a very low power consumption in standby. In total there are 12 separate power circuits. Here we find the rest of the linear power supply for the digital circuits, situated directly behind it. The SPDIF input has an HF transformer placed close by for galvanic separation. The same goes for the AES EBU input. Being an optical connection, the Toslink input does not need that. All three signals go to the Cirrus Logic chip. The USB input goes to the Atmel chip, followed by a Xilinx processor. It uses Amanero technology. All four inputs accept PCM signals up to 192 kHz 24-bit. DSD is not supported. The clock oscillators are directly next to the Xilinx. Then the analog sections. Here the electronics of the linear power supplies, with behind it the two Burr-Brown 1794A converters. These are relatively old designs but use an interesting technology. Ladder converters are used for the upper 6 bits and delta sigma conversion for the lower 16 bits. This way the switching noise of the delta sigma conversion is 6 bits lower while having a better linearity than the ladder converters at lower levels. The DAC chips send their balanced output to 4 output stages in class A. The maximum output voltage balanced is 3.2 volts, single-ended 1.6 volts. Operating the Reuss is as simple as it gets. Connect your source or sources, connect the power cord and switch the Reuss on. On the front, switch it out of standby. The only thing left then is to select the input by pressing the source selector until the LED of the wanted input lights up. There is no remote control. The Reuss was connected over Grim Audio SQM cable to the Air Acoustics AX520 amplifier that drives the PMC FAC12 signature loudspeakers on Stack Audio OVA 70 isolators and connected over Audio Quest Robin Hood Zero loudspeaker cable. As source I used the Magna Mano Ultra MK3 Farad streaming running Rupee XL. It was connected to the Reuss over a Network Acoustics Eno AES EBU cable. Connection to the Zixel GS1900-10 HP switch was made over a Network Acoustics Eno system. The music came from the Sonic Transporter i7 music server running Minim server. It was controlled by the Glider DLA control app on the iPad 2. I always have a device on the test running music for several days before listening to it. Since this was the demo unit of the Dutch distributor, that might not have been necessary. Anyway, the Reuss grabbed me immediately. There are DACs that sound extremely correct in a technical way, and there are those that sound engaging, charming, just as with people. The Reuss combines both. Of course it does the high highs and the low lows, has very convincing stereo image with instruments well in focus, is capable of reproducing sibilants and has a rather black background. Of course all asserted based on its price category. But there is that something more. Mainstream manufacturers today speak of emerging sound, about Dolby Atmos and other technologies aimed at evolving you more. It doesn't convince me. The Reuss does, and it does it very convincingly. I rate it lower end of my set of 1. The Reuss does not tick too many boxes, but those boxes it does tick, it does enormously good. For those that love music combined with convincing sound quality and that je ne sais quoi that makes it so convincing, this is the DAC to buy in the €5,000 class. And on that bombshell we come to the end of this video. There will be a new video next week, so subscribe to this channel or follow me on Patreon, Facebook, LinkedIn or Instagram to stay informed on when new videos are out. Help me reach even more people by giving this video thumbs up or link to this video on the social media. It is much appreciated. Many thanks to those viewers that support the channel financially. It keeps me independent and lets me improve the channel further. If that makes you feel like supporting my work too, the links are in the comments below this video on YouTube. I'm Hans Beekhuizen, thank you for watching and see you next week. And whatever you do, enjoy the music.